Dyer wave.
3.
Our anthropology is not derived by human psychology or, empirical data from MIT or something like this. It's derived from the revealed aspect of what we see in Christology. And so there's no real way to diagnose man's problem and to understand man and man's anthropology, as I said, without the right theology.
Me over here waiting. Me over here waiting on your boy. Me over here waiting on your boy, the cow. The cow named Tristan. Me over here waiting on your boy. Smoking the herb with your boy Tristan. We waiting on the boy. We waiting on the boy now. We waiting on the boy now. We waiting on the boy now. Tristan, where he gonna come? Me waiting on your boy Tristan. He down there in the Ecuador. He down there playing with the boomer cow. Out in the backyard. He playing in the backyard with the boomer cow. Me waiting on the Tristan. Me waiting on the Tristan. Standing in the tree stand. Waiting on the Tristan. Me wife look haggard. I don't mean Jamie. But me wife look haggard, and me name is Tristan. Standing in a tree stand, waiting on the Tristan. We go. Waiting on the boomer cow. Gonna have a cow with a 401k now. We waiting on the boomer cow. Waiting on the Tristan. I was laughing at Tristan's Jamaican songs in his last stream. That was funny. What's up, everybody? We're gonna be doing a couple fun movies. Waking Life, Scanner Darkly. These are movies that every hipster thinks are deep, and they're not really that deep. They're not bad, but They're the movies that idiots think are deep. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, man? They're the movie that the movie the idiot thinks be smart, man. Waiting on the Tristan, standing on the Tristan, smoking on the herb now. I guess he's not coming. His name is Tristan Haggard. Duh. My wife looks haggard. What are you talking about? Yeah, they're good. I mean, Waking Life is, well, we'll get to that in a minute. It has its flaws. I've seen quite a few Richard Linklater movies. You know, I think when an old Richard that gave us old Matthew when he was in there, he's all right, and that was he in that truck. He was a stoner dude. Smoking on the herb, no, waiting on the Tristan, living in the tree house, sleeping with the cow now. Do I mean Miss Haggard? No, I mean a cow now. You never laugh. You always laugh at your own jokes, but you never laugh. That's what everybody says. Yes, dazed and confused. And then he made that baseball team movie. What was that about? You just spend the weekend with a baseball team in the 80s? It wasn't terrible. I went and saw it in the indie theater. But what was it about? Like, you're just hanging out with a bunch of dude bros. Like college dude bros from the 80s. That's what I felt like. I felt like my weekend was just hanging out with dude bros. And then it didn't really have an ending. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Lil Aid says his internet, shocker, his AOL disk that he has to run to get the 56K modem to work. I think you have to sing Jamaican into the modem so it hears that code. Anyway. Reggae. When Tristan sings it, it's reggae. Damn, that was too easy, dude. Autistic Spectrum Warrior, he sends $5 and he says, my two favorite YouTubers. That would be Jay Dyer and your boy right here, Young Boomer. That was me. So I'm the two favorites. Thank you, Autistic Spectrum Warrior. Your boy right here. And now we're going to be interviewing. So I'm going to be interviewing me up here, namely Young Boomer. Tell us, Young Boomer, how did you become a better rapper than Tristan? Well, I simply utilized talent, and Tristan lacks talent, and so therefore I beat him. Ah, yes, great point. Thank you for winning that argument. My paradigm just collapsed. Tristan loses. Ha 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 ha. Look at that. I just act dumb and the money comes in. Act dumb and the money comes in. Act dumb and the money comes in. That sounds like Eric B. Act dumb and the money comes in. Eric B. and Rakim. Act dumb and the money comes in. Eric B. and Rakim. Act dumb and the money comes in. Vladiro 231. I just clicked the video and instantly I'm hidden with the direct hit. 10,000 times more interesting than the Bara stream. Candy Ibarra. Munching on the coconut now. It's the Candy Ibarra. How we gonna get him down from the top of the mountain? If he tumble over, he gonna take down the entire village now. His name is Candy Ibarra. Alright, that didn't make any sense, but it was kind of funny. Are we gonna get him down from the top of the mountain now? His name is Candy Ibarra. He wouldn't stream against me now. He no come to the stream with me now. He no come to me now. He stay up there on the mountain with the big boy. He no come down to the bottom of the mountain with your man, with your boy right here. He no come down here, man. He stay up there. Where is Tristan at? With that damn 56K boomer internet that he's got. Vampire Frog, $5. Act dumb and the money comes in. Rock B, Eric B. No wait, not Eric B. Eric B and no, what's his name? Eric B. No, Rakim and is it Eric B? I just went blank. My mind just went blank. I ain't no joke. I'm the Big Daddy Kane. All right, Tristan. Where your boy Tristan. Act dumb and the money comes in. If you don't give me money, it's a sin. Act dumb and the money comes in. Give me money or you're living. Give me money or you're living in sin. Act dumb and the money comes in. Eric B. What? Eric B. and Rocky. Now, what am I talking about? I don't know. I'm just making up rappers. You are annoying. Oh my gosh. There is a chick who doesn't like me. Oh my gosh. Is this... Give me a break. No, this is not... This is what we do. I've been doing this way before any of these creepers was on here. We're waiting on Tristan. He said his internet is not working right. Shocker. So, what am I doing? There we go. So we're just going to have to clown around. Anybody got any questions? Q&A, man. See, people come, they don't know the jokes. They come here and they're like, what is he talking about? And we've had, years of ongoing inside jokes. And so I got shattered you don't have to delete her. She's funny. You can leave her. How do I put that back? I can't put it back. She doesn't know her grammars. She ain't even got good grammars. Bitch, you won't come up in here talking about I synced them? Bitch, I ain't synced you nowhere. Ooh, you just got wrecked. Nah, if you start calling me that dude, you out of here. Anyway, shout out to my boy Isaac, Illuminati Watcher Isaac Weishaupt had me on his podcast today for Truth or Drama. He does this little side thing where he talks about drama in the truther sphere. Truther, that's so like 2000s, dude. Truther, hello, 2000s called. They want your truther term back. I've never heard truther in forever. But he was like, dude, come on my truth or drama show. I was like, drama? About what? You hung out with Alex Jones. You're shill now. Yes. Total shill, dude. Shield to the max. Shield to the maxi pad, bitches. Penny Bunny, thank you for being a proud Patreon. And I know you out of that club on the weekend sipping on that Patreon with your boy Gorilla Zoe. I know y'all out there at the club slipping on that Patreon. Anyway. Do you guys like Linklater films? Are you fans? What's his other one? When's the last time he had a good hit? I've even forgot what his films are. I took a lot of notes though, so don't worry. We have exceptional notes tonight. Let's see them other Linklater films. By the way, do you know your boy that I hung out with this week is in these movies? I forgot old AJ. Old AJ is in both of these movies tonight. I forgot that. He kind of makes those brief bullhorning cameos. And if you don't know, I bullhorned for the first time this week out there on the street. That was a lot of fun. Fast Food Nation, that was a good one. What else did he did School of Rock. That's a good one. Okay, Waking Life, yeah. Dazed and Confused was kind of, He did Slacker in 1990. Dazed and Confused, 1993 was, I guess, the breakout. Let's see. School of Rock, I guess, was a pretty good hit. Scanner Darkly didn't do that well. I liked it more this time around than the first time. I mean, even though I was woke back in 2006. I mean, I knew all of the New World Order material back in 2003, but he did Bernie, so we need to do Bernie. Bernie's another good Jack Black one with old Matthew. So Bernie's good. Let's see. Haven't seen Before Midnight. Boyhood. I think Boyhood was what. I think he won an award for that. Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Did I see that? No, I haven't seen that. So anyway, they got a few Linklater films I've never seen the last few years. I don't know. Art house stuff, it's kind of, after a while, it seems pretentious and annoying. I mean, I'm going to give Waking Life credit that there's some good ideas there. It feels like he interviewed the worst possible local philosophers. I mean, he just went to like the local, I don't know, UT Austin or something and just interviewed the goofiest shithead philosophers in the philosophy department, and which is kind of amusing because it's actually an accurate array of what you would get in your average university philosophy department. And I mean, I felt like my university, right? Felt like my philosophy department. And I'm not faulting him for that, because if you go to the university, that's what you get. It's just like this dumbed down tard level philosophy that's just like, ugh. And you don't study any, I mean, that's on purpose. We all know that, right? You don't study any real philosophy. It's all bitch level philosophy. You know what I'm saying? Dumb bitch level philosophy. It's, well, I can't say that word, I don't think, anymore. Gen Z Philosophy for $5. He says, what are the top 3 revelatory movies? If when your boy Tristan is here or there, would you mind asking him too? You could ask Tristan, but he don't know much. So, of course, my recommendations will be better, and they'll be actually studied and sensible. His recommendations will be, you know, shit like anything that had Jonathan Taylor Thomas, anything that had Zach Slater, anything that had, Zach Morris, anything that had, boy bands. That's the kind of shit that your boy Tristan's going to recommend. So if you want to go watch the Katy Perry movie and, I don't know, whatever, Saved by the Bell, the movie, the musical, then that's what you're going to get from your boy Tristan. But from me, the most revelatory movies. Eyes Wide Shut. There was a geopolitical movie I was going to mention. What was my in fact, I wrote 2 books so that you don't have to. A Godfather trilogy, mainly Godfather 2, but I'm going to count the Godfather trilogy as a movie. But I wrote 2 books on this, which you can get signed copies at Jay's Analysis for $30. It's a little more if you're outside the U.S., but I can't help that. That's not my fault. Most revelatory movies. Eyes Wide Shut, Godfather trilogy, which is my analysis is included in this one, part 2. Most revelatory. So if we hit Eyes Wide Shut with the spiritual and we hit Godfather with the political, what is the most metaphysical? Dialectics. Really tough to pick one more. I don't know, man. You've stumped me. Everybody asks all these like really difficult ones. Like, what's the top 2? What's the best 4 movies about geopolitics? It's like, bro, I don't know off the top of my head. Shit, what do you want? But you did give me $5, so I feel obligated. And where's my part 1? I don't have a part 1 here. I'm trying to remember what I put in part 1. I feel like maybe I want to say, no, I don't want to say that. Feels like that. How about conspiracy theory? Yeah, that's up there. It's pretty good. Yeah, okay. Eyes Wide Shut, Godfather, conspiracy theory. Those are pretty good choices. I mean, you could throw in some others like 3 Days of the Condor. That's a very revelatory movie about intelligence, CIA level corruption. Do a Mark Pazio. Everybody always wants that Mark Pazio. Natural law. If you don't understand natural law, then don't look in my direction. Mark Pazio put a Kabbalah curse on me for doing that impersonation. I know the magic of natural law. If you come at me and you don't have your juice cannons ready to drink the vegan juice, I'm going to put a Kabbalah curse on you. It starts turning into Jewish Mark Pazio when I do it. It starts to turn into Jewish Mark Pazio. Which doesn't even make sense, but that's where my voice going, dog. By the way, I lost my voice out there screaming with AJ. If you do ever plan to bullhorn, and you've not bullhorned, you will lose your voice. Thus, that is why Alex Jones's voice is so gravelly, because he bullhorns. And if you bullhorn, you will lose your voice. So it took me about, dude, I went for 2 minutes and my voice was gone. I was like, the Great Reset! My voice was gone, dude. Dyer fan 69. You get a soy face for that one. Dyer face 69. Get it? 69. Do you even get that? That went over like half of y'all's heads. Did you ever get into comic books? Yeah, man, I was a comic book collector. I think most kids were comic book collectors. Nowadays, soy boys are comic book collectors by the time they're age 45, dude. But I was I liked Spider-Man, and I liked Batman. I liked Cable, X-Men. I hated, well, actually, I liked the comic Spawn. And then the movie Spawn is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. With John Leguizamo as that farting clown. Literally the worst thing. It's like up there with Jar Jar or something, right? Just what? But yeah, I gave my comics to my good buddy Tommy when I was in about 9th or 10th grade, who ended up being the artist for Game of Thrones. So he drew the entire Game of Thrones, very popular graphic novel series. My good buddy Tommy, shout out to Tommy. Tommy also drew Farscape and some other pretty big name things. And then that industry got so woke that my boy Tom, my boy T, he had to move on to other artistic projects. So Tristan's got that hamster wheel internet over there where they let the gerbils, the Ecuadorian native pine weasel gerbil, runs in a wheel and it cranks up that internet. It's like an old 1920s car. You know, when you think of a dude with a monocle getting into like a fancy 20s car and he has to crank the thing on the front. Tristan's internet, I'm not joking, literally has that crank. Like them Ecuadorians, they hybridized a 1920s crank T model onto a 56K modem. So Tristan's literally out there like working up a sweat, like cranking that internet to get it from like 24K up into the 56K so that he can come on here and freeze for the next 2 hours, which is what his stream does, right? L7 McMacnatty. You make my shit list. Shit list. That's L7 if you didn't know. Everybody go look up L7 shit list, and then you'll get my jokes. Is everybody in my audience too young? They don't get the jokes? He's insane. What's he talking about? L7 McMacDaddy for $5 says, I recently attended a Greek Orthodox sermon, and it was an amazing experience. I have a quick question. Do you read or listen to anything from Jesse Lee Peters? That's amazing. If so, what do you make of his non-denominational Christianity? I've just seen the clips where he's joking around and making fun of people, which are funny. But I've seen, his interviews with some friends of mine, and that was fun, but I haven't really followed his material. If you're a content maker, you don't have a whole lot of time to see and peruse everybody else's content, but I've heard he has some kind of odd theological views, but I just haven't followed him very much. But glad that you had a good experience at church. That's good to hear. Hopefully you found a good Greek church. So sometimes that's hard to find, a good Greek church. But he denies the deity of Christ. Well, that's weird. I didn't know that. So that's unfortunate. So maybe he will convert out of those anti-Trinitarian Arian views. Thank you. The speech in Atlanta was, I don't even remember what I said. I had no sleep because we just drove down there overnight and didn't know I was going to be on a bullhorn. They were just like, here, bullhorn. Okay, what? So I just screamed and I don't even know what I said. But I guess that's the fun part of bullhorning, is that you don't plan it. You just get up there and scream. It's improv. Tristan says, all right, hopefully the internet will be back. Give me a few minutes. He said that a few minutes ago. So we may have to just do the stream with me and you guys. You beautiful people can be my guests, and I will be both Jay and Tristan. So if I'm gonna do Tristan, I gotta get in the mood to do Tristan. Tristan. Just kidding, that's not Tristan. It's easy to make fun of Tristan when he's not here, right? That was amazing. Did you know that they sell the hemp flower in Tennessee now? It's not marijuana. It's the hemp flower. And we had this discussion the other night with, who are we talking to? And we could, with David Patrick Harry. So, and I tried it. It's legal. I don't think it even has any THC. It's something else, but it's super weak. It doesn't really do anything. It's almost like a cigar. And I haven't had cigars in a long time, but we had a really eventful weekend. And so I tried a legal hemp flower cigar thing, and it wasn't bad. Certainly, I've been high in the past. It wasn't any kind of a high. It was, I don't know. People in the chat said, it's just a relaxing thing. Yeah, I would describe it as a relaxing cigar. It's basically what it was like. So, yeah, I guess it has the CBD flower, right? So that was fun. So we had a good, peaceful CBD cigar smoke. It'd be fun to have like a giant, like a big old fat cigar CBD. That would be fun to have that. Yeah, that dude Cotel or whatever his name was. Is he ghosting me? Is Tristan ghosting me? Oh my gosh, Tristan's just ghosting me. What? Would he do that? Would he do that to me? His internet literally cuts out before my stream. I'm offended, dude. Yeah, CBD has all kinds of positive properties. I mean, it's legal because it doesn't do anything. I mean, it's supposed to help people with like aches and gut issues and all that kind of stuff, which I have pretty significant irritable bowel issues. Hence, carnivore diet. So, and I messaged Michaela Peterson because a lot of people have said, when are you two going to do a stream? And I think we had hundreds of people telling her to have me on her podcast. Yeah. She's got like, I don't know what. She gets like 200, 300,000 views on her podcast. So, yeah, definitely. So, but I can give her a shout out for really hipping me to the carnivore diet, especially her dad, and then the interviews that she did with Tristan. So, you can go find Michaela's interviews with old Tristan for... They've done multiple interviews. I don't know, 2 or 3. But I already did all the kimchi, dude. I'm way past that, dude. I'm way past all that. I'm past kimchi. I'm past freaking sauerkraut. This is late stage, way beyond all that, dude. Hey, I've caught my first Dyer live stream. I'm a new fan here. Well, it's good to know that we've reached some new people. I mean, we've had a good crowd of this, the same inner core of the inner party of the nerd elite. And now we've kind of, hopefully, this very eventful last week, we've expanded to include some new listeners and a new audience. And yeah, we get crazy, we get wild, we act dumb. Dude getting straight dumb. On purpose, and thank you for that.
Would you do a Jordan? No, depends on what you mean by a Jordan. Well, I could do a Jordan or I could not do a Jordan.
My voice is a little weird from smoking that CBD cigar, so maybe it's messing up my impersonations. A barbecue stream? Like stream from a barbecue? Live stream a barbecue? Barbecue somebody on a live stream? Yeah, Michaela's done 2 or 3 interviews with Tristan on Tristan's channel. I've been spurging out to your content since 2016, you little bitch. Tristan says, the internet is still out. It has been out for 1 hour. Well, dude, how are you texting me? Maybe he's got a cell phone. Like, dude's over here, dude's literally on the... he's on the Zoom telling me, yeah, I don't have internet, dude. Dang. Let me see if he wants to to wait or what. If not, it's just gonna be me and you little boys, me and you little bitches out there, and our new little bitches out here talking smack in the chat. Gabriel Irwin, she's like, you are annoying. And then anytime you mention somebody from the chat, they'll be like, ooh, I must have got under your skin because you mentioned me. Why are you even mentioning me? You're like a public figure, so if you mention me, that means you're weak and your psyche just got smashed, dude. Nah, we're just... Yeah, I think Lil A's is scared, dude. He probably didn't even watch these movies. He was too busy watching his he went and rented some VHS hentai movies because they don't have... Down there in Ecuador, when the internet goes out, everybody's got to go rent the Betamax VHS hentai movies. so Tristan was down there trying to fiddle with his Be Kind, Please Rewind, all the anime movies, we'll say. Oh, she says, she changed. Look how quick she changed her mind. Overnight. Overnight as in the last 5 minutes. That kind of overnight. So we're going to see what your boy Tristan says right here. And if he doesn't think the internet's coming back, we're going to go ahead and get started. Because we can't wait around for Ecuadorian boomers to come down from their ayahuasca trip. I mean, if we waited for that, we do that all night. Here's what we do. I'll check in, say, 20 and bring you on. All right, we'll go ahead and get started, and then if Tristan gets stuff fixed up, if he puts batteries in his internet, then we'll get him on here. Otherwise, you all can just send me your monies, and I will do like Pat Robertson does and heal you of gout, because I feel sure that at least 80% of my audience has a bad case of the gout, which affects sort of this area and then down there in that area, according to my medical research, your filthies. So the gout, at least in terms of my audience, has most likely affected everyone's filthies. Now here he comes, but I don't have a whole lot of hope for his internet, because it sounds like he didn't put batteries in his internet tonight. There's your boy Tristan. Boy Tristan.
Tracking. It's Tristan.
Dude, I got like a CBD joint that doesn't get you high. Dude, check it out. Like you could, because we're talking about stoner movies tonight, I went and totally got a legal CBD cigar, and dude, you get so not high on this thing, man.
That's so sick. Check it out, man. I got a cheap knockoff Ecuadorian cigar that's supposedly a Cuban cigar that's labeled an Ecuadorian cigar, but I can't smoke this because I had a cigar earlier and it was so intense I almost I got lightheaded. So I can't. I won't be as cool as you, bro.
Well, dude, I am so not high right now. Like I know, like I don't even not know what's going on.
Damn, dude.
So I know what's going on, and it's not doing.
I can help you. I'll help you. I'll be your trip sitter, man.
Yo, we would over here. We be singing about you, man. We was waiting till you come down to the stream when you get down from your treehouse. When you come down here with the little people, man. We were down here waiting on the herbs, waiting on you to bring the herbs and the candy from the boomers.
With the internet here, like we have like a whole team of villagers, and they have like a little crank. It's like this bicycle powered crank type thing. You have to have 10 of them going at the same time.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I had to motivate them.
You have a whip that you whip the local boomers that you.
It's the carrot and the stick kind of thing. So sometimes it's that, and sometimes I just like a little side boob or something.
You got a boomer that you've enslaved to run on the wheel, and you hold in front of him a Miller Lite. It just kind of dangles in front of him, and he chases them.
You have to replace their New Balance like once every 5 or 6 months. They don't make them like they used to in the 80s. The New Balance shoes, they're just not as sturdy as they used to be. But the Tommy Bahama shirt, like you don't really have to change. If you buy Tommy Bahama, the boomers, you don't really have to change their outfits too much because they just last forever. They're quality clothing. They're really quality.
That reminds me, when I was down at a gig in Atlanta, I had on the most ridiculous outfit. I looked like a mobster, but then my shoes were New Balance, so everybody was calling me like a mafia boomer because I had those. I forgot my shoes, so all I had was New Balance, and I had like my mobster tracksuit on. Yeah. So I was like a boomer mobster.
Dude, I dig it, man. Did they know that you're a rapper? Did you let them know that you know me?
I didn't want to name drop.
You don't want to name drop.
I didn't want to name drop, so I kind of kept it low key, and I just kind of basically tried to steer them more or less away from your material, just because I didn't want them to get the wrong idea of what rap really was. So,
you don't want them to get discouraged. It's like you want them to understand that's like, hey, you can do this. You don't have to be this amazing lyricist rapper. Personality. You don't have to be super handsome. So it's best to just show someone that the people can relate to, like somebody that's slightly below average looking, slightly below average intelligence, So I think you're a better introduction to like
Oh, I
the
thought you
rap.
were talking about yourself. I
Oh,
thought that was genuine humility coming out of Tristan's mouth
no, no,
for the
this
first
is-
time.
no.
You meant me. Okay.
You don't want to. You don't want them to get discouraged. It's like there's only so much space in the rap game.
Dude, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that your the batteries went in your internet smoothly. And what do you think of Linklater? So before you got here, we were, we were kind of making fun of you, but then also we were talking about Richard Linklater. What do you think of Richard Linklater in terms of movies?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy a lot of his films.
Okay.
I mean, he captures kind of an essence of like captures this essence of like the innocence and lostness of childhood growing up in kind of postmodern age. I think he's got a kind of a wide swath of films too. I mean, from Dazed and Confused.
All right.
All right. You know what I like about them high school girls? Dazed and Confused, and then what about Boyhood? Have you seen Boyhood? It's a weird one.
I don't think I have. Is that the one where the boy ages? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember when it came out, and I thought about seeing it, but I didn't. I did see that baseball one. You remember that one?
No, I didn't. I haven't
You
seen
basically,
baseball.
it was an art house film, and you're just spending the whole weekend with a bunch of baseball dude bros. I don't know what the movie was about. Maybe it wasn't about anything. I mean, there's
No,
not.
Slacker. You seen Slacker?
I saw that was a movie of his, but no, I have not.
They used to run it on IFC every once in a while back in like mid 2000s. I never watched that film either. But I did enjoy Boyhood. It's not the easiest film to watch because it's kind of, they shot like section by section every single year with the same actors, with Ethan Hawke and a couple other actors. Ethan Hawke, who's also in Waking Life.
Yes.
In one of those scenes. But I was a huge fan of Waking Life in high school. I found it when I was like 15 or 16, kind of right during my childhood crisis years. And I don't know, I really resonated with Waking Life, and it was interesting going back and seeing it again through kind of a new lens. I think as far as like, kind of artsy indie film, I think it's really well done. As far as like a cultural statement, it's nothing that impressive. Like looking back on it now, as far as I thought it was so profound when I was a kid, like, oh man, we could all be dreaming, like lucid dreaming. This is great. And it was kind of like a stoner anthem film.
Yeah, exactly.
Making Life was kind of one of those movies that's like, oh man, you took some mushrooms earlier. Like come over, we'll watch Waking Life and like hang out. Like, same with who's that? Dazed and Confused.
No, it's the one that I think he was trying to redo Dazed and Confused. It's the one I was telling you about. It's called Everybody Wants Some. And it's not about sex. It's just about these dudes. Like
coming of age story. It's like all of his films are coming of age.
But there just wasn't much of a plot.
That's how Boyhood is. Boyhood, not much of a plot, but interesting vignette of kind of emotional, and he kind of captures glimpses of childhood, and there's a certain innocence to it. The acting's not as great in Boyhood as some of his other. He does get some good performances from actors, especially in Scanner Darkly. I thought Scanner Darkly had some great performances from Keanu. Keanu was fantastic in that, actually. He's kind of a silly putty type actor. They just like most of the time it's just Keanu staring off in the distance and blank staring.
Keanu, this is a perfect role for you as a wooden stoner. Oh yeah, I will do it. Okay.
I have two little ones at home. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Linklater, good films. Not the most like groundbreaking director, but I think Waking Life and Scanner Darkly really show what you can do with that kind of rotoscope style. I think they do. It gives it kind of a dreamlike atmosphere. It gives it a different touch, and I think Waking Life was really influential on me for sure in high school. That one and Donnie Darko, those two films I was really into, like 16 years old when I found those movies.
Yeah, no, we got to do some Richard Kelly. I'm a big Donnie Darko fan too. I actually like I liked The Box, and I liked I didn't care that much for Domino, but I did like
The other one where it's like gangsters never die. Or
Southland Tales. I like Southland Tales and The Box and Donnie Darko, so I think he's good. And everybody hates The Box. I don't know why everybody hates it so much, but
I'll have to see that one. A lot of people hated Southland Tales.
yeah, I liked all three of those. I don't know I don't know why the hate, but sometimes I like really just weird out there stuff if it's done the right way. I mean, I have mixed views on Waking Life. We can get into that. I took a lot of notes because I haven't seen this since the undergrad. So I watched this actually in my undergrad. It came up at one point. It's, you know, one of the most typical archetypal films that an undergrad philosophy class would watch.
Yeah.
So I've got pros and cons. It's, to me, just from the outset, it reminds me of the kind of movie that an idiot philosophy guy thinks is really deep.
Like a 15-year-old philosopher.
Yeah, like if you're 17 and you just like, have you ever heard of freaking Nietzsche, dude? Like, you don't even know, right? That guy thinks that this is like the deepest film ever, right?
What if I'm just a figment of your imagination and your dream?
What if we're in a freaking dream, dude? Why don't you just shut up?
But when you think about this movie, was 2001, right? It came out in 2001, right. And there is a section where they're talking about transhumanism.
I know.
And
yep.
Some of these, I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, it's kind of a series of different scenes that are loosely connected ideologically, and it's a young boy, it's the same boy from was it the kid that's in all those movies, and this kid's face bothers me for some reason. The kid from Dazed and Confused.
He's got a little bit of a slow boy looking face.
There's just something about his mannerisms. I don't know. I'm sure he's grown up to be a wonderful person, but I just don't like him as an actor. I don't like looking at him as an actor. There's something that's like, you know, Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused is great.
You like looking at him, don't you? Tristan likes looking at me, don't he? Do I need to send Tristan to my OnlyFans account?
So you're not going to tell them about the what's it called, the Fiverr? I don't know, what's that platform where you pay celebrities to? I pay Jay to do Matthew McConaughey. I pay Jay to make Matthew McConaughey impressions and just flatter me in Matthew McConaughey's voice.
Sam pays Soldier Boy to call out Joe Rogan?
Yeah. No, he paid
the Soldier Boy calling out that Joe Rogan. He
paid Brian Callen too as well. Cameo, that's what it was. Cameo, yeah. I don't like the actor that much, but it's this boy kind of going through this series of encounters with people, and having conversations about philosophy, about life, and discussing his own kind of. It's an exploration of postmodernism, basically, and this kind of broken philosophy.
Right. So. First thing I noticed was, like you said, the rotoscope. I didn't really understand why. I thought, he's just trying to do some weird artsy thing. But I think there is an element to where the cartoony aspect of the rotoscope is suggestive of the dream state or surrealism. And it is a surrealist film because, as you know, the surrealist notion is, the artistic movement is that we don't ever know the dividing line between the waking state and the dream state. So this is crucial to, you know, a lot of Kubrick films. It's crucial to David Lynch. I mean, all of David Lynch's films are surrealist. So that's the undercurrent here. And dream is destiny is how the beginning of the movie starts. So we know out from the outset that this is going to be about, are we asleep or are we awake? Are we living our life, what Socrates, Plato called the examined life? That is, philosophy is defined as the examined life. Or are we just like a rock, you know, going through the motions and asleep and not reflecting on meaning, you know, the big philosophical questions. So that's the tone at the beginning of the film.
Yes, and you know, I think you're right about the rotoscoping kind of bringing this surrealist aspect to it. And it's a super surrealist film. Like you're not really sure if the character's dead or alive. Another kind of one of those Philip K. Dick style themes. And he has, I think it's interesting, he has these encounters with all these people, but none of them are his family, right? There's no influence from
That's a good point.
The character, like there's no father. Like he's looking for a father figure in all these different, you know, university professor types and these street poets, and even Alex Jones makes an appearance. And that's the first time I was ever exposed to Alex was in Waking Life, which I thought was kind of, I had never been exposed to him, and I'd watched that segment with Alex in it so many times, and always resonated with me a lot. And then later on, I realized he was a radio show host and he had his own show. But it's this like this seeking of meaning and kind of a father figure in a lot of ways. And I think that's something that's real common in Linklater's films.
I think you're right. I didn't even notice that. That was a great point. But what I did notice this time was, and I listed all of them. This series of vignettes that he goes through. This main character. Maybe he's a freshman in college and he's just moved to wherever, Austin or wherever, and so he's testing out, these different philosophies. Seems like he's probably a philosophy major, or he's taking his philosophy classes, and he's asking big questions. And he seems to go one by one down this list of professors. So he's going around asking professors and academics questions. What's the meaning of life? What's this? And so we get a representation from a lot of the prevalent schools of philosophy. We get the existentialist, we get the pragmatist, we get a naturalistic materialist Darwinist, we get a Nietzschean, a nihilist, we get this Ethan Hawke character that just shows up saying things, we get the malicious, sadistic guy in prison, we get a strict reductionist who denies free will, we get the conspiracy theorist Jones character, we get the feminist broads, we get a blonde Karen mom, pragmatist philosopher. We get a shamanic woman on TV talking about shamanism. We get a rock and roll party dude who I guess represents just hedonism. So it's a wide array of selections in these different vignettes of different philosophical schools. So did you notice that there was like a lot of different schools of philosophy present there?
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting conversations when he's talking to that professor. He's kind of walking and talking about existentialism, and the guys, it's like this conversation with this professor, but the conversation is kind of the professor trying to cope with his own meaninglessness in this, and it's like, oh look, I find it exhilarating that there's no meaning and that we all just get to make up our meaning. I think it's great. I think that's that part of the film. Those few lines from that professor. I don't know the guy's name. I don't know if he's a famous thinker or some sort of a philosopher, but I think that kind of sums up the philosophical position of the film and the main character of the film, right? Just existentialism, maybe it's empty, maybe it's meaningless, but hey man, like we're just gonna live in the now and we're just gonna make the best of it and take this pragmatic viewpoint of it. And I think it's great, I think it's amazing. And it's like the character says this, but then there's this kind of feeling of this dull, it doesn't cut, right? Like there's no power to it. There's no spiritual force behind his beliefs, behind his convictions. And it just kind of ends up in this open, meandering dream state of flowing through different people's ideas and ultimately ending up kind of just more confused in the end of the film. It just floats off into space.
That's what we never know, is when he is or if he is awake, dead, alive. We don't know. It's never answered. That's a great point. And I forgot that. I mean, once I started watching, I remember that Alex is in it, but I'd forgotten all his lines, and it was like the classic bullhorning, which is surreal because I was just last week bullhorning with him, and it was just it was like a weird. It was surreal for me, man. And I was trying to remember his line. What a bunch of garbage! Liberal, Democrat, Conservative, Republican. Yeah. It's all there to control you.
Will not be dehumanized.
I will not be dehumanized.
Well, yeah. How old he must have been? If that was 2001, he must have been not even 30 years old when they shot that. Like, how did Linklater get hooked up?
He's about 4 years older than me, so I was 21 in 2001, so he would be about 25 or 26.
He's a child. Yeah. I don't know. Alex has got a weird timeline. It's hard to put when he was 25, he seems like he's 32, 33. But yeah, that's a great segment. I think Alex's segment is really good.
And what he says is actually true. Like, he lays out that it's all a scam. The whole media complex is there to control us. The fake paradigms, that's all still really evident and applicable. And a lot of the stuff that his lines, he's like, this is all here to bring in a police state. Here we are, right? Lockdowns, right?
Yep.
I did want to mention, as you said, the first one is the existentialist. The guy goes on about Sartre. Then he meets that boomer blonde Karen who talks about pragmatism, which cracked me up because, she's like, we got to find just what works. And like, I feel like language just kind of evolved because there was like a saber tooth over there. And so somebody just said, saber tooth. And then we had the word language and saber. Like, that's how language really evolved. Like,
it's like this fake deep thought conversation that so many people have. Like,
from some blonde soccer mom.
You never realize that language is weird? Whoa. Yeah, that's
and then that's saber tooth.
You gotta have the female intellectual, but after that, the guy that comes on, he's like the nutty professor on acid.
Yes,
and talking about evolution.
I think we're looking for the
These will be subject to de-evolution. These will be subject to de-emphasis.
This could lead to the neo-human, which could lead to transhumanism.
Yeah, exactly. So he talks about transhuman, and this was one of the most fascinating segments of the film for me. Is this dude's what he said, because at the time it didn't make much sense at all, right? But I mean, now looking at that segment, this guy actually dropped a lot of I mean, it's not really truths, but what he does is reveal kind of this scientific worldview and the logical conclusion of this nihilism, rationalism, and this belief that we're going to evolve out of the chrysalis of humanity and become these neo-humans. But he says, what things that are going to be subject to de-evolution are things like, he says, war, and also he says war will be subject to de-evolution. This will be subject to de-emphasis. And then there's another line.
He lists a bunch of things that don't really make a lot of sense. He says, we'll get rid of war. We'll get rid of, like, I don't think does he mention, he says freedom. No, he says we'll de-evolve, we'll get rid of war, we'll get rid of the way things were, and we'll evolve to this new state of freedom that could even potentially be a new reality and a new way of being. Literally, like the transhumanist other dimension is what he's talking about. And he says, well,
pluralities of experience and pluralities of the self, and what is the self.
And he says, we'll transcend time and space.
Yeah, you could have infinite selves, and the infinite selves will just be multiplying. I remember
we would be the God people.
Yeah, I just remember hearing this guy talking about the neo-human and all this stuff, and this was the most nonsensical segment back in the early 2000s. But now
we realize that's the religion.
Right.
Time for the herb break.
Gonna
take the herb break.
Acceleration, right? This idea of an acceleration of evolution and consciousness, and as we come towards this epoch, it's kind of like the immanentizing the eschaton. Everything is becoming more and more fast, and we're evolving quicker. And yeah, that's an idea that's very common now too.
What you even talking about, man? I don't know what you even talking about. I just smoking the non-herb here, getting the non-buzz. Just sobering up, man. Gonna smoke the non-herb. Gonna get sober now. Anyway.
The amplification of the individual. The multiplication of individual parallel existences.
This guy was an archetype. Like he could have been a cutout, like a casting, cutout, because he seems like the archetype of the transhumanist professor. But
yeah,
did you like the survey? I mean, I did like the fact that he talked to, I don't know what the Ethan Hawke character is supposed to represent, except maybe a quasi Platonism / Carl Jung. There was that Nietzschean dude, right? Remember the Nietzschean guy who lights himself on fire? He's like, man, humans just want war, dude. Humans want chaos. The media's a psyop. My life is meaningless, so I'm going to burn myself here in protest. And then he lights himself on fire and nobody cares.
Well, yeah, that segment, it's so poignant, right? I mean, that kind of archetype of the character who's, just so black pilled. Everything's so fake. It's all so lame. Everyone's so phony. I mean, it's kind of like the Holden Caulfield, except he lights himself on fire instead of going full Catcher the Rye. This is the professor. He says we're gonna get rid of things like morality. He says we'll transcend morality. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. We'll transcend morality and parasitism and war, and we'll go. The neo-human will be beyond morality, and how very prescient that.
This is such a archetypal stoner movie too. That's what's funny about it.
You mentioned the Ethan Hawke character. Remember, he's talking about not Crowley, but he's talking about Leary. You mentioned Tim Leary had this theory, and he starts talking about Leary and him and this girl. They're in bed, and they're talking about their ideas, but it was just such a shallow conversation as well. That one always bothered me. Their pillow talk. It's like shallow deep.
Let's see. He says, "You ever think about what if you're that old woman looking back on your life and all of your life is really just the last few minutes of your life flashing before you, and because Tim Leary said the body will die, but the brain will live on for a minute after the body dies, right? So the idea being here that since sleep time is different than waking time, perhaps the time distortion is, maybe right now you're just experiencing your whole life flashing before your face and you don't even know it.
And then he goes, well, maybe I'm just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, what if I'm just a character in your dream, man?
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's kind of a really ridiculous concept. To deny that you even exist, but then to say, oh, well, maybe I'm just a figment of your imagination. Right? So
right.
You're God, and I'm in your mind. It's,
Pause this real quick here, Tristan. We had a super chat for you earlier. The question to me, I gave a few, but Tristan, what are your top 3 revelatory movies for, what all's really going on?
Oh, man. Eyes Wide Shut, Mulholland Drive. Top 3, Eyes Wide Shut, Mulholland Drive, and THX 1138, I guess.
Oh, I forgot THX, yeah.
THX is pretty crazy, right? I mean, we could do 10 more episodes just on that one. We watched Hunger Games for the first time. You know what?
I'm glad you said that because actually today I was thinking about doing a Hunger Games video because Alex talked about it yesterday, and I'm like, oh, dude, I did a Hunger Games whole podcast like 5 years ago, but now it's way more relevant.
Yeah, man. Hunger Games, Children of Men. There's another one that.
Yeah, I always forget Children of Men.
In Time. We watched In Time. That's it. I mean, there's aspects of all these movies.
Right.
All these sci-fi movies, they get some of it. Someone's mentioning 12 Monkeys, Brazil, and that. Yeah, Brazil's another one. Brazil is like, they really catch the stupidity and the hilariousness of how stupid these bureaucracies are in Brazil. Right, just the crushing dehumanization, but also like the kind of comical aspect of it all. I think they did a good job with that. That was more than 3. So sorry, I broke the.
No, I did the same thing. I had to list a bunch. And by the way, Tristan and I did do an analysis of some Terry Gilliam. We did THX. No, he didn't do Terry. We did Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, and we did Brazil and 12 Monkeys, I think is what we did.
Yes, we did THX as well.
Right, but that was I forget what else. We did Demolition Man and THX. That's right.
Yes, yeah, THX is great.
Chaos Dwarfs for $5. Glory to God for all things. Thank God for Metropolitan Trifon of Turkestan. I can't talk. Somebody says, Tristan, why in your view is Mulholland Drive important? Snowpiercer is good too.
There are a lot of aspects of it. The mind control stuff, which is kind of an undercurrent, but really blatant. The mind control stuff, like the structure of Hollywood and kind of the occult aspect of it, and this kind of the falseness of reality that's come from social media. There's something about like the way that they portray Hollywood and the character played by what's the blonde chick's name again? What's the blonde actress? I forget her name.
Naomi.
Yeah, so her character just her character arc and the way that she's so like her as a person, she's so empty and fake, but then she gets in front of the camera and like it triggers her into being more real than she was in her real persona. I think that it shows a lot of like the breakdown of the psyche, the breakdown of the West in general, and the control structure at an occult level in Hollywood. I think is portrayed there really effectively.
I would add too to everybody, you have to get into the lore of Twin Peaks. So watch all of seasons 1 and 2. Watch the movie, and I don't hate season 3, so I actually like season 3. And I would include that in my most revelatory because it has all of those elements, including, I mean, it's not Christian per se, but I mean, it does hit on quasi-apocalyptic, collapse of civilization, spiritual, demonic type stuff. I mean, that's the whole thing is, it's ultimately Laura has been kidnapped to be the vehicle to bring in the abomination of desolation, the end times. So I just gave away season 3, but there you go.
I have not seen season 3 yet. I haven't seen the film either.
Oh, oops.
First 2. I don't care. It's all good.
But it's really good. I mean, every time I go back to Twin Peaks and watch it all the way through, I notice new things. I'm a huge fan. I think it's excellent. But I did want to say too that another good point I will give to that goofy scene with Ethan Hawke was actually that Julie Delpy there, who's in the bed with him, she makes a good argument against reincarnation. She actually makes an argument that Father Seraphim Rose makes. She says, well, now wait a minute. How can there be a bunch of new souls, right? Like if everybody's reincarnated, and how come nobody ever says, "Oh, I was a bug, I was a dung beetle in my last life." It's always, "Oh, I was Akhenaten, in my past life."
Yeah. Everyone's Abe Lincoln and Harriet Tubman and shit.
Who were you in your past life, Tristan?
Me, I was Philip K. Dick for sure.
Or Liberace.
Liberace.
Is he still alive? I don't even know.
What about you, Jay? Top three reincarnated past lives.
Gandhi. I don't know. I don't believe in that, so that's against my religion.
Oh yeah, you're gonna one up me.
Yep, I one up to you now, pagan. You dumb pagan.
Now that you, dang! I didn't realize I fell into
that trap, dude. I just blew your worldview up.
Jay just got me condemned forever.
I just blew your worldview up. Then they talk. Let's see. That's right. So he talks about the collective unconscious, which is Carl Jung and Plato, the Ethan Hawke character. And then we see the angry prison cussing man who represents just sadism and pain and hatred. And then we get another philosopher who's a strict reductionist. And, he's just like in his glasses and he's like, St. Augustine and Aquinas, they struggle with this notion of predestination and free will. And, what we know now is that the Big Bang has given us the fact that there's no possibility of any actual free will. It's all an illusion. And so we're actually just in this gigantic cosmic determined matrix, and we're all just a grid, and we're all gears in that grid. And I would rather be that than, quantum physics telling us that there's a possibility of the wave fluctuation. And I don't want to be a wave fluctuation. It's just like, dude, please. It's just some of these professors are the most.
But then in the end, he's like, yeah, but we have to take into account not just we have to take into account persons also. Where it's like he just denies the possibility of the existence of persons, a soul, all this. But let's.
But we have to be good to people. Right?
Yeah. It's like typical pseudo intellectual
bullshit. Just suits.
Grad school vegan.
So he's the strict determinist materialist guy, and then we get. My favorite one was that random Nigerian dude who's just like, and then we got there will be the higher consciousness speaking through the persona that will come to be, and it's like, what?
Yeah,
that was the most gibberish.
Subjectivity. He's like an Indian. He's got like an Indian accent.
Oh, is he Indian? I couldn't tell what he was. Shout out to my Nigerian Indian boys.
It's so it's empty with such fullness. It's all empty with the fullness.
There will be the new consciousness that will leap. He says that the liminal will leap into the physical, and there will be the new man. And it's like,
that's one of the worst segments. Is that dude
total gibberish, total words. Like the best example.
In the middle of the emptiness, the universe is pulsating in the emptiness, and we are one with the emptiness.
Zone
and
theory shit, dude. You ever seen the Tim and Eric skit Zone Theory?
No.
It's a great Tim and Eric skit. That guy was pure zone theory.
I'll have to check it out.
Go watch the Zone 3 skit. It's great.
What about the two broads sitting in the restaurant?
Yeah, well, this represents what, like a cat mom, like feminist cat mom. I mean, who or what were they talking about? Nothing. Bullshit.
It's like, I don't even know what it is to be me. It's like my cells were so different 7 years ago.
Momosophy. Yeah, she's like swirling particles. Could you believe we're supposed to be this thing, this self, but like our cells regenerate every few years, so we're literally not the same self, and yet we are. We have a picture of ourselves from when we're 3, and we're supposed to be telling people this narrative, this lie that is us. We construct a narrative. We're just a construct.
It's just a bunch of cells. Do
Do your Ben Gertzel. I love your Ben Gertzel.
Which one would be the Ben Gertzel character?
Dude, half of these
Ben Gertzel's kind of that the white-haired guy, right?
Yeah, half of these goobers do him.
Oh, you make me nervous, Jay. Yeah, no, Ben Gertzel's great, dude. I suggest everybody go and watch the Joe Rogan episode with Ben Gertzel. What if we're all just like this? We're all just a collection of cells, man. It's like, oh, what if we could just hit a button and like everyone was dead or gone or whatever? Like that wouldn't even matter, dude. But like, there's no God, but we're gonna be God, and I don't believe in God. But if you get in my way of becoming God and you make me not be
there's
God,
no God, but I'm gonna be him.
Dude. There's no God, but I'm gonna be him, and just like we're just arrangements of molecules because
we're just
like,
arrangements of molecules, dude.
Who cares, dude? It's like there's like maybe like 7 billion.
Do you notice
people.
that Ben Gertzel has the voice of a person who's perpetually holding in his weed?
He's always holding it.
Always holding it in, dude. Hold it.
Right about to blow it out, dude. Yeah, I love that when he says something to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan asks him about like, what about like overpopulation?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, we're all just arrangements of molecules,
We're
man.
just
Just
arrangements of
rearrange the
molecules,
molecules
man.
of all 7 billion of those people. We'll just make a big
arrangements.
molecule soup, dude. It doesn't even
man.
matter. We'll just upload
dude.
you into Google Cloud and we're good.
man.
It's all good. I got 2 moms and they're both lesbians from Brazil. That the Ben Gertzel legit has 2 lesbian moms from Brazil.
Ecuador.
Hey,
From Ecuador. One of them is named Tristan. Go to the game, mom. One from Tristan and one from Ecuador. Anyway, that didn't make any sense, but that's okay.
what did you think about the segment with the monkey professor? And he's watching these like this reel from the 60s and
Right, that one kind of weirded me out. And then it was like he was
80s,
watching,
90s.
he's watching Kurt Cobain all of a sudden.
It's like that segment is kind of interesting. You know, it's a chimpanzee with a microphone, and he's showing a film with a projector and talking about cultural change and this cultural zeitgeist. And he's watching a video of a guy running down a hill, looking frightened behind him at whatever's coming down from behind the hill. And then in the end, what does he do in the end? He like crumples it up and eats it or something. He eats the film reel or something. What does the monkey do in the end? I'm kind of scanning through some of the. Yeah, what did you think that meant? What did you get from that segment?
It's called noise and silence. So it's like, how do we get consciousness meaning, given the fact that really what was going on in the universe was just noise and silence? And he talks about doubt. He's watching Nirvana. I just think it's just supposed to be some deep thing about we're all monkeys, man, but we think we're creating meaning. We think we have meaning, because then it goes to, I think the next sequence or right after that was the guy that's sitting in the coffee shop, and he's like furiously writing, being all deep, and some girl's like, "What are you writing?" He's like, "A novel. I think
he's like really into
a novel. I think."
It's reading the Great American Novel. It's just like people and they're talking and that was a weird. But I thought there's something to the monkey thing though.
She goes, I can't remember, but yeah, she goes, "What's the story?" And he goes, "There's no story. It's just people. I mean, it just is. It's just gestures and movements. There's no meaning." And she's like, "Are you in it?" He's like, "I'm not sure yet." It's just it was a picture.
It just reminded me of like undergrad, like you get
Yes.
when you're doing like a lit course or you're doing a creative writing course, and you're in the circle and and you've got your piece, and you wrote whatever, you wrote a poem or you wrote a short story, and you're going to then critique everyone else's short stories. And those the stupidest freaking thing that has ever been invented is these literary circles where you critique other people's creative writing. It's the most like draining and dehumanized stupid thing in university. But
it's the most pretentious people. I mean, ironically, when I was doing undergrad and grad, the most pretentious people were in the lit department. Because they all believe themselves to be like the next great American writer or whatever. And
you listen to what they're writing, and it's just like none of them have anything to say. None of them have any. Real,
they're total nihilists. They're total just postmodern empty shells. But and they just repeat whatever's in the media or whatever. I don't know, Huffington Post said.
But their ideas, their version of nihilism, their window into the world is the most beautiful and profound. They're the only ones who have ever experienced love and pain, and it's. Yeah, that's that character, the guy sitting in the coffee shop. He reminded me of those
yeah, that was actually a great vignette of the pretentious literary douchebag, nihilist. If you want to know what university is like, multiply that dude by about 50, and then there you go.
And this girl asks him, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, this woman's interested in him, and he's like, "Oh, like you wouldn't even understand.
Like you wouldn't even understand. Right?
You wouldn't even get it. You're just a normie."
When that dude is like the most normie, right? He's like the picturesque normie.
That's the normies now.
What did you make of the old bar dude? Right. So there's this bar dude telling a story, and then there's this shooting.
Oh, yeah, the gun.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Weird. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, that's one of the more shocking moments in the film, like the way it switches all of a sudden. I thought that segment, the cinematography, the acting was great. The writing is really good there. I mean, ultimately, I don't think there's that much meaning to a lot of these things. It's kind of just, I think he wrote a scene. I think with that one, he wrote the scene, and then it's just like, what's going to happen in the end? Oh, just, say something to shoot him, and then the dream ends.
Right.
We frozen?
A little bit. Tristan's frozen with fear.
Am I back? You hear me now?
You're back now. Yeah.
All right. I think he wrote the scene, and then at the end it was like, yeah, we need a better transition. Let's just have him shoot the dude in the end.
Well, it related to his story, so I don't know if it meant like when you recount or tell your story, you make the story real. So the protagonist character is making this story because it's his dream. It's coming from his subconscious, and so we actually kind of get this almost, it's Jungian / Inception. Did you notice that he starts saying, "I want to get out of this dream. I can't get out of here. Am I in a dream? I don't even know if I'm awake or sleeping." And then he goes, "Did you like the ukulele hipster guy who was strumming the ukulele and saying his bullshit?"
Yeah. The guy before that was like the metalhead guy. He's like, "Hey man, I can have sex with anyone I want. I can do all."
Did you like the
in my dream?
No, wait. That's the rock and roll guy.
It's like I have 360 vision in my dream life.
The best was the holy moment guy. So you're getting ahead. Go back to the holy moment guy. Where the holy moment guy was just talking about, he's like, God is all of us and God is everything. Yeah. And right now I could just have this holy moment with you if I just looked into your eyes and we could just cry. Yeah. Do you remember that guy? He was like, the holy moment where you look in each other's eyes and cry. I was like, what?
That dude, like LA yoga spiritual.
Yes.
Hipster.
Tristan, would you just look in my eyes right now and just cry with me?
Right, he's like he's not even gay, but he just tries to.
Let's just have a holy moment. He calls it a holy moment.
Like he's like the type of dude who's like totally not gay, but always tries to act as gay as he possibly can because he thinks it's like I don't want to be like
Metro
toxically masculine or anything.
Who's Metro?
Yeah, that was another one of those kind of pretentious Hollywood types trying to grasp reality and just playing with emotions essentially. I like how the guy that he's talking to is kind of just like, yeah, it's kind of there's like layers to it, huh? There's the holy moment, and then there's you trying to have the holy moment, and then there's he's kind of in so I think the writing was pretty good on that scene for not the douchebag guy, but the foil character where he's kind of just like, yeah, what's going on here? I don't know. And then
did you notice that it gets progressively weirder? So then he goes to the he meets, I don't know if the guy's a street guy or just like some weird junkie, but there's some guy who's just rambling this nonsense about how he's I can remember where that I came from. The Trinity to infinity. Trinity to infinity. He sounds like an alien.
That one was funny. Yeah. That one I think kind of represents like the depressed, autistic.
Yes, he's autistic. He's a loon.
Yeah, he's very autistic and very he had the forward head posture, like he's just living on a computer. Yeah, I definitely could kind of relate to that.
The monotone autist street dude who says he's an alien. And then he meets that 90s looking goth chick with the turf bangs, and she's like, so I'm gonna do Barbara and consumerism, man. She's just bitching about consumerism, which is like a favorite thing for philosophy 101 activist shitheads to talk about. Fucking consumerism, dude. Which is fine.
Slave, man. You're all just slaves.
You're all fucking slaves.
What about there was the little segment with the 4 young guys walking down the street and they're just like rapping their
they keep saying back and forth. Yeah, that was all postmodern. Yeah,
that's the most annoying segment.
That one is really annoying.
Dudes walking down the street.
Could you imagine hanging out with those 4 guys? Like that would be unbearable.
To immerse ourselves in the oblivion of actions.
Yeah, right. Like
what does that even mean?
More
there'll be an anxiety be never known to exchange love and hate, terror and redemption. What?
Then I think he meets the party dude, the rock and roll guy who's like, yeah, just freaking like learn to lucid sleep or whatever, and you could have any kind of sex you want, dude.
Yeah, that guy's.
So that guy was hedonism, right? So he represents just the pure hedonist philosophy, and then he gets to the weird guy who's kind of the consummation of all this, which I've always thought was very bizarre. The guy playing the pinball machine who talks about.
That's the last one, right? That's the final.
Did I miss one?
We missed a couple. Do you remember?
Oh, I forgot the boat of car guy.
Well, that guy's we're gonna be constantly arriving and leaving at the same time. No, towards the end, there's a segment where he's on the bridge with this like fried out poet guy with the afro.
Oh, the guy, yeah, the sort of quasi Jewish guy. That guy's hilarious.
Yeah, is that? I don't know if that's like a famous beat poet or something like that.
Yeah, that's what he has to be. Some kind of weird beat poet, like a Ginsberg type of character.
Oh, with the always present now, and I'm here right now, and it's the ongoing wow that is always happening. And if I just say it enough, I might explode into an orgasmic, cosmic explosion and burst all my energy into the skies. This guy's just constantly blowing his intellectual load and just saying the most nonsensical, stupid shit. The opportunity to exhibit how exciting alienation can be.
It's Koomsberg, the great poet Koomsberg.
Alan Koomsberg, that's his name. Alan Koomsberg. Yeah, dude, he's that's probably one of my favorite. The way that it shot that segment and the way that his voice is, and I don't know, that one actually is really funny. There's nothing significant. I forgot about him. He says.
Nothing. He's just his gesticulations and the gibberish he says is hilarious.
Yeah. Listen, this is his voice.
A certain exhilaration as he realized at last something was happening to him, and it's something developed that you cannot understand.
All right, that's good. Don't get me dinged.
Yes, hallelujah. Remember, something happening. Don't get me dinged by the copyright. The Kumi copyright. Kumi right. Don't get my Kumi rights.
What a kid.
Yeah, that was.
Do you know that They Might Be Giants song, Boat of Car?
What's the line from it? What's the chorus?
The boat of car, the boat of car. As soon as I saw that dude in the boat of car, all I could do is think of the They Might Be Giants song, which, I mean, he could have had that in mind because a lot of the They Might Be Giants lyrics are pretty surrealist and postmodern. So, I mean, boat of car, that's really weird. But
Well, he does. There's a line where he sees the guy later, right? And he asks him, "Hey, did you have a boat that's a car?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, man, I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, man, I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. So then he talks about false awakenings. You get the Inception line. Am I in a dream of a dream of a dream? Every time I try to wake up, I'm in another dream. Am I dead? I don't know if I'm alive or dead. And then he meets the philosopher playing the video games at the pinball, and he's like, "Look, dude,
pinball machine."
He's
You
like,
know,
"Dude,
that's
look."
the director. That's Linklater. Right?
Oh, is that Linklater? Okay, he's like, "Look, dude."
Yeah.
You ever read that PKD essay where he's like, "We're all in the middle of the Book of Acts. Everything froze in 50 AD. We're trapped by a
Dude, the
demiurge."
progression of those ideas. Okay, so PK, he tells this story about Philip K. Dick, which is obviously, Linklater really likes Philip K. Dick. He made a film about one of his more famous books. He starts talking about Philip K. Dick and this weird progression of things that happened to PKD. And these type of things, if you read like a biography of Philip K. Dick, it's fascinating. He was always having these weird schizophrenic breakdowns, and he would meet somebody, or he would write a book, and they would meet the characters from the book. He would believe that they had the same names, and so I wrote this character before I met them in life. So Linklater's talking about some of these experiences that PKD has. And then he talks about Philip K. Dick like going to his priest and telling him some story about a guy in a gas station that he gave gas to. And then the priest tells him that's the Book of Acts. I don't understand how
what church you at? You're in the wrong damn church, boy.
Dude, yeah, so I don't understand how they get to that. And then he's like, yeah, Philip K. Dick believed that we were just living in 50 AD. And we were always stuck in 50 AD, and God is about to come, but we're just waiting for God to come, and all of our existence is saying no.
Time froze in the middle of the Book of Acts in 50 AD, and the demiurge has trapped us in this realm where we think that we are alive, but we're actually dead, and we're waiting for the return of the second coming. Really weird stuff. I've never heard anything like that, but. Wherever PKD was going to church, he had the wrong religion. I can tell you that right now. That was a heretical priest for sure.
Yeah, Dick. He was a really confused guy. And Philip K. Dick, and we'll probably talk about him a little bit when we get in the next film. He was really into like strange Gnosticism stuff, and he had all sorts of weird theories about reality and the nature of God and the demiurge and the nature of history and the history of his own life.
Right.
He was incredibly confused, but also a brilliant writer in many ways. His books are actually some of the most important sci-fi novels. I think he's one of the better not nonfiction, almost nonfiction. One of the better American fiction writers ever. Philip K. Dick, as far as maybe his literary skills, his prose isn't the best, but his ideas and the way that he builds worlds is kind of unparalleled, and he's
right. Let's move on to Scanner Darkly, because unless you have anything else on Waking Life, the film kind of leaves you with the up in the air question of: Are we awake? Are we dead? Are we asleep? We don't know. Right. So
I don't know. To me, it used to seem profound, but for some reason now it's just the whole concept is so stupid.
It's pretentious now, and it is kind of silly. However, I will say that I do appreciate at least the attempt to work with these philosophical ideas in a film, because that's so rare. And now things have gotten so stupid in terms of filmmaking and where movies are for the most part, that you look back on this kind of thing and you appreciate it, even though it's kind of silly. But at the same time, it's not terrible.
It's like as close as you're gonna get in a Hollywood film, for like somebody
asking real questions.
Yeah, seeking God, but from that juvenile, adolescence stage. And, Linklater, it seems like he's kind of stuck in his films, at least. He's really into that adolescent, 17, 18, 19-year-old phase. It seems like that's the most that's the subject of most of his films.
Everybody likes coming of age,
yeah, but that's kind of absent in Scanner Darkly. Scanner Darkly is about more guys in the late 20s, early 30s, junkies in their 20s and 30s.
Burnouts, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
final thoughts on Waking Life. I think it's an interesting film. It's was pretty influential to me growing up, but it's funny looking back at it now. It's just the things that I thought were profound are just really silly, dead ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think looking back, you can say that this is actually demonstrative of kind of the end result of where unbelieving philosophy leads. It leads into these dead ends. It leads into these traps. It leads into absurdity, foolishness, contradictions, nonsense, and ultimately, it really all it can ever do is some form of Gnosticism. And ultimately, Platonism is very similar in many ways to Gnosticism. And that's really all you can ever get. Did you ever see that movie Hardware?
No.
You should watch it. It's kind of a B movie, but it's a sci-fi movie with a philosophical point. And the director of that actually said pretty much all of Hollywood is a Gnostic empire. He calls it a Gnostic empire. He says that all the movies of Hollywood really just reflect some form of Gnosticism. And Hardware does that, and I think Waking Life does that, and that's just what we see so often over and over and over.
Yeah, very Gnostic film, Waking Life. It's visually, I think the soundtrack's pretty good. It's a little long. I don't know, it's an hour 40 minutes. Like some of the segments are like, you're a little sleepy watching it, but yeah, it's worth it. I think every university student probably watches it these days.
Right. It's definitely a classic of undergrad for sure. All right, Scanner Darkly, upon reviewing this, I actually liked it more than the first time. So the first time I watched it, it was all right. And I knew all of the elite New World Order stuff by then. I started reading conspiracy material when I was 18 in 98. By 2002, I had gotten really deep into it. Had been made aware of, the Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones stuff through AJ. And by about 2006, I had read, dozens of books on this kind of stuff. So I was pretty woke. I didn't really like the movie. I thought it was okay. However, this time I actually like it more because it's a lot more relevant and predictive and prophetic for where we are now.
Yeah, similar. I remember watching it, being excited for it to come out, and because I like Linklater, and then being kind of disappointed with it. As well, but yeah, I really enjoyed it this time around too. Yeah,
it's a complex plot. It's a little slow in parts, but the plot and the ideas are relevant. The dystopian element here, it's a near future dystopia. America has lost the drug war. Everybody is, well, not everybody, but 20% of America is addicted to substance D, and that's not talking about my filthy parts. But that's talking about the mystical, weird drug that people are freaking out on. By the way, haven't we had some interesting problems with fentanyl, spice, all these weird drugs that people are freaking out on in America, 15 years later since this film has come out. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just agreeing. Man. Yeah, I think it's... When you think about the time frame too that it came out, this is 2006,
right.
So it was kind of like peak war on terror,
right?
And it's based on a novel that was written kind of during the 1970s. And it was kind of a semi-autobiographical novel that Philip K. Dick wrote. In the beginning of the novel, he dedicates it to all the dead friends that he saw ravaged by the drug scene, right? So he was heavy into the drug scene in Silicon Valley, in California, and that's why he sets it in Orange County. They set it in Orange County, California. But it kind of takes the ideas of paranoia, depersonalization, like what is the self, the loss of the self, the loss of identity, multiple personality disorder, government psyops.
Yes, that's the big key here is that Keanu is going to be the unfortunate test subject at many different levels by different powers and agencies here. So he's going to be screwed over by his friends. He's screwed over by the cops, and he's screwed over by the big pharma that he ends up working for.
Yeah. I think that's something that isolation, that sense of isolation, that sense of fear,
alienation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, alienation, isolation, and that's another one of these Linklater themes that he really focuses on.
Now, we see him with a wife and kids. Are we supposed to think that at one point he had that, or is that like a dream state where he sees what he could have had?
Well, I think there's the theme of gaslighting is also in this film, where the character is kind of brought through certain psychological manipulation bottlenecks at times in the film, where he's led to doubt his own experience, and he doesn't really understand. He doesn't really know if he has a history with children. Remember, like he says, "Oh, I have 2 little ones. I have 2 daughters." When he's talking to his boss, who's in the what do you call that suit? I forget what they call that again.
That's saran wrap, that AI saran wrap suit that he wears.
Well, that's
the scramble suit. A scramble suit.
The scramble suit. There you go. So they wear the scramble suit. It starts out Bob Arctor, which is the character Keanu Reeves. He's in the scramble suit giving this speech in like the second scene of the film, and he's giving a speech about substance D, about how terrible it is, and you can tell there's kind of a personal aspect to it. But then later on, when he talks about his children, when he references what the children that he mentions in that speech to his boss, the boss tells him, "No, you're not supposed to have kids. Like that's not in your file." So I don't think we're supposed to know. Maybe he did have children, and
I think maybe he's been reprogrammed, and he did. And at one point in his drug trips, he remembers it.
Yeah.
But he's not even sure who he is. He knows he's this drugged out junkie guy who's been co-opted to be an informant, undercover spy guy, right? So he's doing surveillance on his junkie buddies under the auspices of trying to figure out who Winona Ryder is purchasing these drugs from. And so the whole movie is kind of the paranoid breakdowns that him and his junkie friends, Woody Harrelson and Robert Downey Jr. and that other dude at the beginning who has all the bugs on him and he used to his weird tick, that guy. And so basically it's just this descent into further and further levels of psychosis. Mm-hmm. And we're told at one point when he goes to see this group of rehab people, which by the way, remember we've covered many times MK Ultra and rehab centers. That seems to be prominent here. Mm-hmm. The rehab people say you've been exposed to a highly addictive drug that you can't go cold turkey on. It's going to cause you to see things. You're going to hallucinate, see the wrong thing. It's going to cause you to lose your sex drive, and it's called substance D, and it splits the 2 hemispheres of your brain. Mm-hmm. That's pretty wild. So probably the government does have drugs that do this and worse, and they will probably be experimenting in who knows what kinds of ways. Hint, hint. So here we see big pharma as a big player in this power structure here that Philip K. Dick is warning us about. And then the other key point is the insane level of surveillance, right? I mean, friends are surveilling friends to surveil other friends to surveil other people. It's just like this labyrinth of surveillance that you can't keep up with on purpose. So you're intended to feel confused in the midst of all this. Yep. And that's why he wears that scramble suit, is so that nobody can see who is surveilling on who.
Right. So the scramble suit, it shows these different holographic like faces, and there'll be a bunch of faces show up. Did you notice that in the first scene, Philip K. Dick's face at one point shows up on the scramble suit?
No, I didn't.
I never noticed that, but I'm pretty dang sure that PKD's face was one of them.
Probably,
Easter egg there. But yeah, I like the motif of the scramble suit, the symbolism of that, of being inside this. It's like Arctor represents everybody. There's the fractured American.
It's every man.
male.
That's a great point. I didn't even think of that. Exactly.
Yeah, and it even says, I think they say something about like you're every man in this, and that's who he represents. Every man, who's broken down, doesn't know who he is, and is just outwardly projecting all these different fragments of other people he's come in contact with, and holographically spitting those out.
Oh, dude, that's
while
great.
Hiding his real tortured, lost soul inside there. And the cinematography, the camera angle that they use, the real tight camera angle of him inside the scramble suit, I think it's really haunting, and I think they did a great job with the cinematography there, and the character and world building within the scramble suit is very important, and especially now with with all the people snitching on their families for having freaking Thanksgiving dinner.
Did you notice Robert Downey Jr.'s t-shirt?
Yeah, he's got the Illuminati, the pyramid with the eye on his T-shirt. Did you notice in the house, Arctur's house, I think it was, there's the poster with the G on it.
The G, the
inside
Masonic G,
pentagon.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so Robert Downey Jr. sells them all out. He wants to inform on them. And so Keanu, also being an informant, knows this whole time that that's who's the other informant. So he sort of loses any connection with his friends. And then we find out that Winona Ryder, who he likes and who's constantly, rebuffing his advances, she's also working with the police to get him not just to infiltrate. Keanu thinks he's infiltrating to figure out who Winona's getting the drugs from, and turns out Winona is working with the cops to use Keanu to infiltrate the New Path Recovery Center to figure out where the drugs are coming from in terms of their source. And of course, it's the big pharmaceutical company who's growing them under the guise of corn, GMOs, right? That was all great. That was brilliant. I thought that was,
Yeah. Well, this idea of, especially in that world, like the drug world, there's a lot of paranoia there, right? Like drug dealers and stuff like that. And everybody's ready to rat on everyone else in that world. This is what a lot of people get into that, and they think it's going to be glamorous, or it's going to be some easy route. But they did a good job of showing that the isolation, the paranoia, and the falseness among all these, drug dealer revolutionary types who are like, yeah, we're fighting the man or whatever. Man, these people are all ready to sell each other out. And Robert Downey Jr.'s character is really well done, and he's a very evil character. Mm-hmm. He thinks he's like this pseudo intellectual junkie who thinks he's better than everybody, who thinks everybody else is like stupid and below him.
Right.
And he just manipulates everybody using the drugs, using lies, using manipulation. And then he's going to the police and like trying to rat on his friends, not even realizing that the cop that he's ratting on is his friend that he's ratting. Like, he's talking to Keanu in the scramble suit, ratting on Keanu. I thought you were my friend.
Would you like to do some substance D with me?
Really good Keanu, actually. It's a legit Keanu.
I know.
But yeah, the idea of the isolation and betrayal, and those are big themes in Dick's work as well. PKD focuses a lot on that, like isolation and betrayal and human, just like the strain in the human relationships, kind of in this fallen world. I think he was really haunted by that. He was really haunted by loss and by abandonment. I think he was told that he had a twin in the womb. He was told by his mother that he had a twin in the womb, and that he killed his twin in the womb. So he had this guilt, which is a weird. I think Elvis had a similar. It's kind of like a weird MK Ultra story you could tell somebody, right? If you're gonna mind control someone, you tell them like, oh, hey, when you were in the womb, there were 2 other babies in there with you, and you ate them, you monster, right? It's like this is what he believed. He believed that his twin sisters have like died, and he got to live. Now, why did I get to live? Was always this question that he had. So he had this like guilt and shame that he explores a lot in the books, and I think that the guilt and the shame and the paranoia are something that are right in the forefront throughout the whole film, and how the drug scene is full of people that are guilted, shamed, and lost, bouncing off of each other.
And no loyalty, ready to sell each other out. And it turns out that Keanu actually was given the drugs. The police seem to have wanted him to be addicted ultimately so that he could go to the rehab center. And turns out the rehab center is a place to mind control and experiment on junkies.
What a surprise!
Yeah, I mean, recalls Dave McGowan's notions that perhaps rehab centers are involved in mind control and programming. I think that's very, very possible. I mean, we know from the history of MKUltra that the easiest segments of the population to experiment on, and this is a fact, were prison inmates, right? People in psychiatric wards. It's only logical to deduce that homeless people, junkies, would also be experimented on.
Those are the ones you don't have who's going to believe them.
Exactly.
Right? This is the thing about California too.
Exactly.
It's like, I mean, growing up in Southern California and seeing the meth thing just kind of blow up and homelessness, right? Like the homeless issue wasn't as bad in the 90s, but it got progressively worse as like the meth and the drugs and the cultural breakdown continued. I remember in high school, like, talking to bums in the street and the beach in Carlsbad and stuff. A lot of them would talk about mind control shit. Like the homeless population in California are obsessed with electromagnetic weapons and stuff like that. And these schizo people, they're always talking about that. They're all these freaking homeless schizos. Half of them are on some like, the government put a microchip in me type shit. Like they're always talking about it. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't doubt that in some cases, right? I mean, I think a lot of them.
I'm not saying that's what's happening, but there are some weird stories from these hobos, and they tend to talk about.
Well, that's the thing. You can never, because they are a segment of the population with high levels of mental illness, you can never verify or really know for sure, and that's why they're perfect for that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so then of course, turns out that when Kinko Reeve is put into the rehab place, he ends up working as a mind-controlled drone spraying pesticide on these crops. And it's worked because he basically just goes around and anything somebody says to him, he just repeats it. I really like the mountains. Yes, I agree. Okay, thank you. Like he just repeats anything that they say to him. So he's become a drone, and the point is that, as you said, the goal would be to make everybody into Kinko Reeve.
Well, what about, all right, back to the Robert Downey Jr. character. There's a lot going on with him, right? He's very manipulative. He thinks he's better than everybody. He's openly trying to climb the ladder of law enforcement and become an informant. Like he's down for whatever power he can get.
Right.
And there seems it's like an unspoken thing that he messed with. He was like gaslighting Keanu, and he pulled the accelerator cable off.
Oh, I forgot about that. He sabotaged.
And then they're in the car, and the car won't stop accelerating. And Robert Downey Jr. is just sitting in the back, and before it happens, he's like acting like he knows it's coming. And then he investigates under the hood of the car and tells him, "Look, this is what happened." So he's a strange character, and he does a lot of weird manipulation stuff. He almost seems like, I don't know, like they could have thrown another twist in there and had Robert Downey Jr. be like a high level Fed, because he plays a strange role. What do you think about his character? What do you think? Do you think there's more to it than meets the eye?
No, I think he just represents the junkie philosopher who thinks he's more than he is and wants, like you said, to climb the ladder and is willing to sell people out for whatever. He's not committed to anything except his own, perceived superiority. And that's what seems to motivate him. But I mean, I maybe I need to rewatch it and rethink his character, because I was mainly focused on what was going on with Keanu and his psyche and how he was being broken down over the film. But we forgot too, AJ, right? Once again, Jones is in this. He's out there giving a speech in front of the burger joint, and then the black surveillance SUV pulls up and they beat him and pull him away, which is interesting. So this is a dystopian, near future dystopia where you can't speak out anymore. You're not allowed to do any of that.
Mm-hmm. I think it was he's saying like they're flooding the streets with the drugs.
He's correct. Right. I forgot. Alex says that it's they're doing it intentionally, and he's right.
And which we do find out later on. We realize that near the end of the film, right, when Keanu gets this, I forget the progression of the breakdown of his psyche, but part of it is the gaslighting and the psychic manipulation from.
Oh, you think maybe Downey Jr.'s character is there to break him down?
It seems like he could have the way that they set the characterization up, the way that they set the world up. The characters don't know their own motivations. This is like another interesting part of Philip K. Dick in the world that he creates here. Bob Arctor is an undercover agent. He realizes what he's doing, but he doesn't realize the full extent to what he's doing. And everything that Winona Ryder's character is doing she's also his handler, right? So
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
she's the boss. Like she's not just like a cop. He directly answers to Winona Ryder in the office. She's wearing the scramble suit. He's wearing the scramble suit.
That's right.
You see this in the very end. So she's manipulating him the whole time to not really know what reality is, because ultimately they want to put him in the new.
That's right. I knew she played him. Yeah, but I forgot she was in the scramble suit. Exactly.
So they wanted to get him in what was that place called? New Life or whatever.
New Path.
New Path. And they want to get him into the rehab facility so that he can figure out where the drugs are coming from and send them proof of where the drugs are coming from. But he doesn't even know that he's an agent, and he doesn't even understand because he's so broken, he's so psychically destroyed that he doesn't realize he's an agent. So that's why I think when you get to that level of it, we don't really know what the other characters know about their reality either, and that's a very Philip K. Dick.
That's a very PKD thing. Yeah, we start to go through the character's loss of the sense of reality. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So then you have to call into question everybody else's reality, including. So I don't know, maybe Robert Downey Jr.'s character is some sort of a higher level Fed who's kind of watching
an
the
agitator,
situation it plays out.
Right, agitator,
provocateur. Because, and that's why did he have why is he wearing the gnostic, the Freemasonry shirt, and why does that could indicate that is a possibility?
Good point.
I haven't read the book.
What do you think about Woody Harrelson's character? Is he just a lunatic?
Yeah, I think he's just like the innocent surfer bro, just kind of, I'm just there. I want to get high. I want to get mine. Perpetual childhood, 35-year-old dude, like just hangs out and looking for a mountain bike for $50, whatever.
All right. That we had a fun time. We got any more super chats? We got Gen Z Philosophy sends 5 and says, maybe if Tristan would stop being such a bigot and put the update number 666 on his 5G brain chip, then his internet would stop failing and he wouldn't be late. It's pretty bigoted of him to not care about the planet like Klaus Schwab does.
It's really, I've got a lot to think about. I appreciate that.
You got a lot of, we're going to have to up your social credit score, so you better start thinking about how you treat other people.
That's true. I apologize, you guys, for my tardiness, and I know that I'm sure everybody.
We'll give you a tardy slip. Did you get tardy slips in high school?
Yeah, you got the tardy. We had you had to go. I went to 2 different high schools.
He's so smart. He goes to 2 high schools. Whoa, he's better than all of us.
But yeah, I'm trying to remember. The second high school I went to.
I went to 2 high schools, so I don't know about you, but
actually, my dad was the principal.
My dad was the principal of 2 high schools, and I went to them both at the same time.
My dad actually, he donated the land that the high school sat on. So.
Oh man. All right. Well, dude, it's been fun. We've gone for 2 hours. What do you any wrap up comments on Scanner Darkly?
I like Scanner Darkly more than Waking Life as far as Linklater's body of work. I'd say it's his best.
More relevant now,
I'd say it's his best film for sure. I mean, well, Dazed and Confused is a pretty good movie, but it's not like a deep, profound exploration or anything. It's just kind of pop culture,
right?
Candy. It's film candy, but this is a good film. I think you could tell that Linklater really loves Philip K. Dick's work, and I think he captured the bleakness of Philip K. Dick's world. One thing that I think he could have done better was capturing some of the funniness of Philip K. Dick. I don't think he did this. Just minor critique of Linklater's film.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't catch the humor of Philip K. Dick as well as he caught the melancholy, sadness, and horror of PKD and the lonesomeness and the isolation and that stuff. He did great with that. But I think he could have done a little bit more to capture the humor. But again, that's just me throwing stones from the sidelines, because I don't know how I would have done it much different. I think it's well done. And the theme of just like the drug world in general, it's a very isolating and it's a dark world. And all these people, like, I don't know, if any of you are like young and you're like, trying to like sell a bunch of weed or something, or trying to like climb the ladder in like the drug world, get the heck out of there. there's nothing further down the line except a bunch of people ready to rat you out and turn you in, and these people will sell you out so quickly. And I think it's sad that so many people have been crushed by drugs and the fentanyl thing.
Right.
We've all got friends and family that,
And if you want a good eye, man, all you got to do is turn to the hemp. Get yourself a nice little bit of hemp, man, and get sober. Get not eye. We're going to get so not eye right now. Not irie. You get irie or not irie with me. Thank you, Tristan. Been a very good show, man.
You're very welcome.
Time to go get very sober, man.
Yeah. You guys could check out my channel. Jay, I thank you for putting a link up in the description. There's a link over there. You can find my channel. It's basically just me being amazing and handsome and humble, and yeah. I'm trying to really work on my humility.
That's a goal that you're shooting for, I take it.
It's hard to be more humble, but I'm gonna try. Okay. I can't be more handsome, but I could try to be more humble.
Definitely goals that Tristan's working for, and that inspires us to work towards goals as well. And all right, dude, thank you very much. Look forward to our next movie stream. Everybody loves these. Be sure and please follow Tristan. Go support him. Subscribe to him. And please share this, like and share this, because we don't get the likes and the shares through the algorithmic exposure like we used to. And please help me out. If you want to, don't be an idiot and cancel Christmas. If you are canceling Christmas, you're a goof idiot. Buy Esoteric Hollywood in the shop for your Christmas people that you know for Christmas time.
Also, become a member of Jay's website too. If you guys aren't already a member, there's so many lectures that he's done over the last 6 years. How many years have you been doing YouTube? Long time.
Audios and YouTube 5 or 6 years, yeah.
Okay, 50 years he's been doing YouTube videos. Jay.
5 million.
He's got a legit body of work for 5 years. There's so much there. There's so much to dig through. So I would highly suggest you guys become a member. You got to become a member of this website. It's
and same for your boy Tristan here.
Yeah. All right, guys, you can check me out over at Prime